Friends, it's Timon and I'm back with a new video, man. I'm gonna do another carnivore, so-called carnivore video. So it's by this guy Max Germain. You've probably seen him on the internet. This popular guy. People have done like some reaction videos to his videos, whatever, yada yada. So I'm gonna react to his video. Max Germain says, "Why is everyone quitting the carnivore diet?" They're not. They're not quitting eating meat. What are you talking about? They're not. Because here's the thing, they're still eating meat. You mean, why are they quitting the elimination of the slave food drug addicted plant diet? Because they're addicted to it. That's why they want to go back to eating it and put it back in the mix. It's based on addiction. That's their problem. Well, they're going to make up excuses, I'm pretty sure, like, oh, maybe my ferritin levels are high, or this or that, or some bullshit, cholesterol, something. But you know what? Or whatever. But you know what? At the end of the day, these conditioned peasant slaves can't stop dreaming about the peasant slave food diet that they grew up with.
Eating a carnivore diet led to full resolution of my autoimmune condition, eczema, itchy rashes, and...
Again, there's no such thing as carnivore diet. We're all carnivores. You mean him eliminating, he had an elimination diet, and it did what? It helped to eliminate these rashes and all these internal things he was suffering from those plants and things, and the addiction, the highly drug addicted diet that he was on.
Asthma that I'd had for my whole life.
Yeah.
But after a year and a half, I quit the carnivore diet. Hello, Corey here.
After a year and a half, he quit the carnivore diet. No, he didn't. He quit the elimination diet, and he went back to put back what he eliminated back into the diet. Get it, bro? This is so dumb.
This video, I want to explain to you why
this is another asshole. I remember him.
I am no longer carnivore.
Yeah, yeah.
I quit the carnivore diet. I didn't have the energy.
He never quit the carnivore diet. None of them. Lee, what's his name? Lee, that kid there, the little Chinese kid. He never fucking quit it. He's still eating it. What he did was he introduced carbs into his diet, the drugs.
I didn't have my libido. My stress shield was kind of disappearing.
I just can't do it anymore for several reasons.
Stress shield, he had no libido. That's a lie. My libido's through the roof. Maybe because he's not doing anything. He's so sedentary. He's not moving around. If you don't move around, then of course you're gonna have somewhat of a maybe low libido. I don't know, but you get erections like a motherfucker just eating meat, especially raw. And I don't even think they eat raw. I don't even think they truly, really eliminated, because if they did, they would have gone raw, but they didn't. I know these people, they cook everything in seed oils and shit.
Number one, just some practical stuff, but also some...
That's why he had no sex drive, because he was cooking in seed oils, cooking the meat away, destroying the nutrients in the meat. These people are destroyers of their food.
more serious reasons that could impact my health.
My blood work showed that my ferritin levels were elevated and my copper was a little bit on the lower end.
And then why would that happen? Because she cooks the shit out of her food. These people are the worst of the worst online, calling themselves carnivore. This is just dumb. They do not eat raw animal products like it was meant to be eaten in nature, like everybody else.
And my thyroid, while my thyroid numbers were still in range, my thyroid still wasn't as optimal as it could be.
I did straight carnivore for the first few days, but it was...
I love this. I did straight carnivore. There's no such thing again, man. What he did was he eliminated. That's what he did. Eliminated the drugs.
It's hard. You know, the more I think about it, the more I think that the carnivore diet is like a cult.
The more I think about it, it's like it's a cult because it's not really allowing me to eat my drugs called plants, you know, my highly addicted diet. I observed these kids at the buffet today, these children. The mother doesn't really give a shit about them. They ate rice and noodles, crap. They ate garbage. They looked like garbage. They looked like garbage. You know what I mean? They looked bad, terrible. And they were kind of chubby. One of them was really chubby, and she was eating the most cakes. The other two, they weren't really eating it all, but they were laughing at her eating all that because they didn't even give a shit. The mom didn't care that she's destroying herself eating these fucking smashed seeds cakes made out of smashed seeds and sugar.
Recent times, even some of the most well-known carnivore influencers have quit the carnivore diet. So in this video, we're going to...
They never quit being a You cannot quit being a carnivore. Now, you'll have people say I'm a vegan, but what does that mean exactly? They've eliminated eating meat, apparently, right? But have they eliminated all animal products like milk or cheese? I don't know, these things, right? You know, like cottage cheese, milk, kefir, whatever. You understand me? Yeah, have they truly eliminated? I don't know. I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Look at what's really going on and answer the question.
Yeah, what's really going on?
Luckily for us.
Is everyone quitting the carnivore diet? Let's get into it.
After about a year
They're not quitting it. They're quitting the elimination diet.
to a year and a half of a carnivore diet, I began to notice issues. Probably in my case, arising due to electrolyte insufficiency. This led to muscle cramps. I had problems with sleep. I had
Electrolyte deficiencies. That just makes absolutely no sense. 0 sense. He cooks the shit out of his meat. He doesn't eat it raw.
heart palpitations, fluttering of my heart. I had some
Yeah, the seed oils will do that when you cook it in there. What'd you expect? It's carcinogenic, dude. Yeah.
thing called hypnagogic jerks where I would fall asleep.
Okay, how come I don't have any of this? How come I don't have any of this? The meat I have, it's slightly grilled because I don't want to get any like cooties on it. Somebody's been handling it. But a lot of the stuff I wash it or whatever, eat it raw. A lot of stuff I eat raw. How come I'm not getting that? And I eat a lot. I can eat for hours, 3 hours straight of nonstop eating. We're talking marathon eating here, dude. So how come I'm not suffering from any of that? Why?
Sleep, but jerk myself awake. I had declining lab values that were important to me, specifically lower total testosterone, higher sex hormone binding globulin, which leads to a lower free testosterone. And I had the sense that I was
Yeah, I don't have that. My testosterone's through the roof, fucking. I have fucking, man, I have like erections. They're like through the roof, bro. Come on, like a 16-year-old.
cold or a little bit cold all the time. And when I looked at my labs, my thyroid levels, specifically my total T3 and free T3,
Mustn't be eating enough animal fat. But what did you expect cooking your food in seed oils?
were not ideal.
Paul blames these issues on the carnivore diet, but I believe they weren't caused by the diet itself. Instead, they were caused by 3 other factors.
Yeah.
Firstly, Paul is a very lean guy. I mean, you can simply look at the bloke. He's got abs, his veins are popping out. Paul clearly has a very low body fat percentage. And on top of that, he surfs for hours every day. He lifts, he walks a lot. When you're that lean, you don't have much
That's true. Yes.
body fat to pull energy from. People who carry more fat can get away with eating less because they've got plenty of stored fuel. But Paul, he doesn't have that buffer. So if you're training as much and as hard as Paul does, and you're not eating enough,
That's the thing. He's stressing the shit out of his body. It's unnatural. And look, this stuff is cooked in seed oils.
especially not eating enough fat, your body doesn't have much to run on. And that's when
Yes, I adjusted that by eating more fat.
you're going to start feeling terrible and experiencing many of these symptoms that Paul talks about. This also explains why he
But
felt
I've never had any of those symptoms. The only thing I had was occasionally I would get the runs, but I knew what it was from because you need to be proportionate to eating fat to protein. So you need a lot of fat in your diet. That was mostly the issue. That's what I discovered because what the fuck do I know? I'm a peasant slave myself. I grew up on the peasant slave plant addicted, highly addicted drug addict diet.
very cold. Heating your body up is a very metabolically expensive process, which means it takes a lot of energy to do this. So when you're lean and not eating much, your body will actually reduce its internal temperature in order to burn less total energy. So this was Paul's first issue. He was super lean and he was under eating. Another major issue Paul ran into simply came down to insufficient insulin. When you eat carbs, your blood sugar spikes, and a hormone called insulin elevates to bring that blood sugar back down. But insulin does more than just regulate blood sugar. It also helps your kidneys hold on to electrolytes.
But wasn't he still eating like, I don't know, fruits or something? This whole electrolyte thing is just bullshit.
Like sodium and potassium. On carnivore, because you're not consuming many carbohydrates, obviously the main driver of insulin isn't carbs. Instead, it's protein. When you eat a meal with protein, some of that protein is converted into glucose.
Are they eating that meal the way it is naturally? Or are they cooking it in seed oils?
Which is sugar. That small rise in blood sugar right there is enough to trigger an insulin response. And that insulin is what helps you retain.
That is bullshit, man. I eat so much meat. I don't get any of these things. Why?
Electrolytes. But here's the problem. If you're not eating enough protein, or you are eating enough protein, but you're eating it in lots of small little meals.
I'm not. I'm eating massive amounts. Massive.
Spread out across the day, instead of having bigger, larger ones. Your insulin may never rise enough to do this job of holding onto electrolytes. Without that signal, your kidneys may not retain electrolytes properly. That's when you start getting the exact symptoms that Paul described. Cramps, heart palpitations, poor recovery, and bad sleep. When you watch one of Paul's full day of eating videos, what you see is him having lots of meals spread out across the day. And none of these meals are particularly large. So this right
Yeah, they're small meals, yeah.
here is another contributing factor in regards to Paul's issues. He wasn't eating enough protein in proper meals to trigger enough insulin and therefore keep his electrolytes balanced. The final problem with Paul's version of carnivore was that he was incorporating a lot of organ meats, in particular liver. Paul owns a supplement.
Yeah, I felt kind of tired, dizzy, that, because I just wasn't eating enough fat, I remember at the time. The moment I adjusted it, I started eating. Well, here's the thing. You eat a lot. I eat a lot more seafood with meat, which is known to be very fatty, omega-3s and stuff. And all these things, they just adjusted right away, like just the way it should be naturally. A lot more animal fat.
Company that sells organ supplements, including liver. On top of that, he was also regularly eating raw liver and other organs in their natural form. Now, liver is incredibly nutrient dense. It's the most nutrient dense food on the planet.
Yeah, it can be, but it can also be, there could be some toxicity in there because the animal itself is eating some kind of garbage ass motherfucking food, bro. What did you expect?
But here's the thing, liver is actually too high in certain nutrients.
No. It doesn't matter how high it is in nutrients. Nothing's gonna happen to you. And you maybe they're getting dysbiosis by eating the animals that they're eating because they don't know what they're being fed.
For example, copper, as well as vitamin A. And with vitamin A, unlike many other nutrients, which you just flush out if you consume too much of, vitamin A is actually fat soluble, which means it gets stored.
He's making this stuff up, man. It's bullshit. How come I'm not having these problems? I'm consuming large amounts. Fuck. You should see what I eat, man. I mean, you just saw the buffet, but you didn't see anything. I got a fucking blender. I blend this shit and drink it like it was pop.
In your liver and then builds up over time. When vitamin A levels get too high, it can start affecting your liver and kidneys' ability to keep electrolytes balanced. All of Paul's symptoms to do with electrolyte issues are also classic symptoms of vitamin A toxicity. So this right here was Paul's third issue.
There's no such thing as vitamin A toxicity. He's making that up. Not from animals. You're not going to get vitamin A toxicity from eating liver, bro. You're going to get vitamin A toxicity if you take supplements because they're toxic. They're garbage.
Eating too much liver, which potentially led to vitamin A toxicity. When you look at it all together...
That's fake. He's making that up, man. That doesn't exist.
Paul's issues weren't caused by the carnivore diet itself. The electrolyte issues...
No, it was caused by him cooking it unnaturally in seed oils and some other garbage, okay? I've seen him before in his program. They cook the shit out of it. There's stuff.
Low testosterone, the suppressed thyroid issues, being cold, all of these things could have been resolved if Paul did these three things. If Paul would have just
he was hungry because malnutrition, because he's cooking the shit out of his food. And he eats small meals. So the small meals and cooking it, he's insufficient nutrients. Get it, bro? He wants to run on fucking drugs called calories.
more food overall, as well as larger
Look,
meals.
it's just an excuse these people are making so they can go back on the peasant, slave food, drug addict diet.
And cut back on the liver. He would have avoided all of the issues he talked about, but instead he
No, he wouldn't. If he just stopped cooking his shit or cooking it in seed oils, all this shit would have gone away.
just quit and blame the carnivore diet.
This is the number one factor why I stopped doing the carnivore diet.
I know why he did it, because he doesn't know how to build muscle, because he's never damaging his muscles. He's a lifting slave. A gym slave. He comes in consistently breaking down proteins and not restoring them, not building them up or anything. And he's not damaging going through repair and remodeling cycle. He's adapted to his exercise, so he's just like a marathon runner, exhausting himself. You understand me? So what did he do? He took carbohydrates and he gained a lot of fake weight, sarcoplasmic muscle. Boom. Like, I don't know what it was, like 60 pounds of sarcoplasmic muscle. Boom. Yeah. So meat itself can be anabolic, but it can't damage the muscle fibers for you, the trigger to go through repair and remodeling. You got to do it, and then it will grow your muscles. Get it? Yeah. But this fucker, he's too stupid to realize that. He wasted his time.
I simply couldn't eat enough fats and proteins to get myself out of that chronically dieted state where I was.
He couldn't eat enough fat or protein. He was eating a shitload of protein. He was anabolic, literally. But why didn't he build any muscle? Because he never damaged it. So are you thinking he went on carbohydrates? So what did that do? Why did he get big on carbohydrates, but he didn't get big eating meat? Because carbohydrates load as glycogen in the muscle. It circulates like sugar in your body. The over amount of it converts to glycogen and loads in the muscle and the liver. Get it? Giving you something called non-contractile proteins. So he never built any contractile proteins by damaging them, the trigger. What he did was he's built a whole bunch of non-contractile proteins. We call that sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. He hypertrophied the sarcoplasm, not myofibrillar growth.
Sub 6% body fat for multiple years. Now this is individual, but eating so
Because
much
he's a dummy.
protein was too satiating for me, and adding in more fats into my diet would have caused digestive issues, especially if it was
Look,
in.
man, I'm eating down at the buffet. I'm not exercising. You think I'm gonna build myofibrillar growth because I'm anabolic now, being at the buffet, and I'm not actually triggering the triggering device called damage? I'm not damaging my fibers to grow. Of course, they're not gonna fucking grow. It's impossible. Even if I am exceeding that breakdown right now. What I'm really exceeding is deterioration. Is that what really? Here's the thing. I'm not fucking damaging any muscle. I'm just going to eat at the buffet. I'm really just exceeding deterioration. You understand me? I kind of shut off the proteins from breaking down. But they can't build anything if there's nothing to reconstruct. You're not growing anymore. You stop growing. Duh. So you have to trigger something in the body to cause it to grow. And it can only ever happen if something is damaged in your body. It'll damage, and it may go through a remodeling, making it bigger and stronger, because it's an unnatural means to lift unnatural man-made weight. Get it? You're not hunting, twisting, and throwing a spear. That's totally different.
Form of rendered fats like tallow or anything of that sort.
This right here is one of the most interesting examples of someone quitting the carnivore diet. Because, I mean, in a way, he quit because carnivore was too successful. Not being able to eat enough
He never quit. He still eats protein, animal protein. He never quit. My God.
food to get above 6% body fat, which is basically a stage-ready professional bodybuilder, is a very rare problem to have. Most people are struggling to lose fat, not to put it back on. But, I mean, in all seriousness...
Exactly. Instead, he got fat. He got really fat. Man, this is really dumb. Everybody, truly is true. Everybody really, the bottom line is they want to get lean, really super lean. But even that can be unnatural to be too lean. But they really want to get lean and jacked. They want to be lean and jacked, okay? in the bodybuilding world.
The issue of losing too much weight can be a real problem for some people on carnivore. The reason for this is because carnivore is extremely satiating. When all you're eating is meat and animal products, your appetite stays very low. Now, there are many reasons for this. One is because protein and fat trigger many of your strong satiety hormones. Another reason is because animal products are extremely nutrient dense, meaning your body gets what it needs very fast and
That's right. It gets it really fast. So I have to eat very quickly where I am because I know at some point it's going to stop and I can't get any more in.
doesn't keep you to push eating more in search of these missing nutrients. You also avoid carbohydrates, which mess with your blood sugar levels and hunger hormones. As a result of all of these reasons,
they missed the drugs called carbs.
and some people find that on carnivore they get full very fast. Like Paul's example, when you're too lean and not eating enough, you can run to issues with energy, sleep, electrolytes, and even
He's too lean, not eating enough. He is eating enough. Bro, he was eating a lot of meat products. I've seen him eat. You understand me? It's not the leanness that was the problem. He said he couldn't put on muscle because he never damaged it.
hormones. In that video, Tristan said he couldn't physically eat more, but usually there are a couple of ways around this. For one, perhaps...
Yeah, bro, you can eat as much as you want, but if there's no damage to the muscle fiber, there's nothing to grow.
The easiest thing to do is to increase your consumption of dairy. Dairy is much more palatable than animal products like meat.
Again, it's not going to grow muscle if there's nothing damaged there to grow.
So adding things in like cream, cheese, or even yogurt can make it so much easier to get more food in and as a whole increase your overall energy intake. Another option is to mix up the types of animal food you're eating. Some people find they can eat much more when it's from, say, fatty fish, while others find they can eat more when it's high-fat ground beef. By rotating different options, you'll often find certain foods your taste buds and body want more, which makes it possible to get more total.
Oh, but your taste buds and all that's not about taste, man. It's about fucking health. If it was about taste, then it's the slave food peasant diet.
Food. Tristan also said that when he tried to increase his fat intake, it would cause him digestive issues. The main fix to this would have been to simply increase his fat intake.
That's kind of weird.
But to do it a lot slower. The reason for this is because for fat to be absorbed, it requires a digestive fluid called bile. The thing with bile, however, is that it is demand driven.
Yes, that I realize, bile, yeah. You need that to produce because of, for fat, to take care of that.
Meaning your body only produces as much as required. So if you drastically increase your fat intake, it can take a while for your bile production to also increase. As a result, this excess fat passes through and results in loose stools. But if you instead increase your fat intake much slower and more gradually, you never have this major gap between...
Right, I had that, these loose stools, because I didn't eat enough fat. So I started eating more fat, did it right away, and I didn't have any problems. No, everything's normal.
Bile production and fat intake, and therefore you won't get loose stools. With just a few small adjustments, I'm confident Tristan could have solved this problem of not eating enough and actually gain weight on carnivore. I also do think, however, that part of...
Man, I guess I'm dying from a heart attack tomorrow because I eat so much saturated fat. It's out of this world, dude.
His decision to quit was influenced by other bodybuilders who believe that carbs are essential for optimal bodybuilding. But I mean, that...
It's not essential for bodybuilding, but... I mean, I'm not saying you can't use it to do certain specific things you want to accomplish. Do you really need it at the bottom of the day? I told people you should experiment with animal fat.
Was debatable.
I mixed in a little fruit. I eat fruit because I find when I don't do that, I did straight carnivore for...
Look, the only reason I eat fruit at the buffet is because the sweetness of it. I like the taste of it, the sweetness, but I know it's a drug. And so I just don't consume a lot of it when I'm there, just a few little pieces. You know what I mean? But here's the thing. Do I really need it? Not really. Can I go without it? Yes. So do I have to do it? No. The question is, do I want to do it? Well, yeah, kind of I want to do it. You see what I mean? But I don't have to.
The first few days, I think the first 8 or 9 days, but it was, it's hard. I was slogging through workouts.
Just no energy.
Yeah.
The reason Joe's performance dropped on carnivore,
because he didn't eat enough fat. Yeah.
Therefore, why he ended up quitting is very easily explained. Joe simply wasn't fat adapted. What this means is that on a standard high...
Yes, I agree with him. Fat adapted. You need to be fat adapted. You need to eat a lot of fat. The best fat to eat is fish, and I eat it raw. A lot of fatty fish raw. See what I mean? I introduced it because it's separate than meat. I can't eat meat at a buffet, but it's semi lean. That meat is quite lean, and so it's beef, and so I start eating a lot of fatty fish, and I eat it raw. Yeah.
High carbohydrate diet. Your body runs on carbohydrates for energy. Now these carbs break down to glucose.
No, it doesn't. Your body doesn't run on carbohydrates because if you don't eat carbohydrates, it wouldn't be running on carbohydrates, now would it? And we all know in science, your mitochondria run better on its natural food called fucking animal fat. Yeah. See, that's a difference.
Which is stored in your muscles as glycogen. This is the fuel source.
Exactly. It turns to sugar. The sugar, excessive amount of sugar that's circulating in your system will convert to glycogen and be stored in the muscle. And you'll get these phony sarcoplasmic muscles.
Your muscles primarily use. But when you remove carbs like on Carnivore, your body has to learn to run on fat instead and create its muscle glycogen from fat. This process right here is called
muscle glycogen from fat. Listen to what he said. Muscle glycogen from fat. Okay.
fat adaptation, and it takes a while to become fat adapted. For most people, it takes less than
I don't know. Why would it take us a long time to be fat adapted if we've been eating animal products all our lives? Man, Joe Rogan has been eating meat his entire life. Again, these are elimination diets. Christ.
a few weeks to become somewhat fat adapted, which is where
We're
you start.
all fat adapted, dude. We've been eating fat and animal meat our entire lives. Christ. Along with the slave food peasant diet on the side. Otherwise, we would be dead, all of us. We'd be dead a long time ago.
Start to feel super energized.
We'd all be part of the vegan compilation, dying. And then we'll all be dead.
You feel good, but for full fat adaptation, where muscle glycogen replenishment is optimal, it can take months. Joe only did a strict carnivore.
No, it's not. It's just that you've been eating so much carbs that your body kind of was loading that in there was the energy source, and then. But also, it's doing something with your fat and your protein at the same time, because coming from animal, bro. Get it?
Diet for about a week before he added fruit. This right here is nowhere near enough time for the body to fully adapt. During
Like
this
all these people make it sound like I went carnivore, like as if they've never eaten meat their entire fucking life. What were you doing the whole time? You actually fucking survived being a vegan, growing up on a vegan diet as a child? You didn't die? This is a fucking miracle, bro. Maybe you're all Jesus Christ out there. Christ, man. What the fuck is going on here?
phase when you first start carnivore, your glycogen levels drop, which is why some people often feel sluggish or weaker in the gym.
Really?
But if you push through, your body becomes
Why do you think it would go down?
much more efficient at creating this glycogen on its own. This is where a lot of confusion comes in. People point to studies showing
It's been creating itself for your entire life, bro. You're all eating meat. Shut up.
athletes perform better on high carbohydrate diets in comparison to high fat diets. And then they go around
Absolutely not.
saying, well, the science clearly shows you need carbohydrates for optimal performance. But here's the
No, you don't actually. For optimal performance, you need animal fat. But if you're trying to build muscle, man, you know, it's debatable, man. It's something you have to experiment with, animal fat as opposed to eating complex carbs. I don't know.
thing. In these studies, they test athletes who have only been on a high-fat diet for a short period of time. So of course their performance isn't as good. They aren't properly fat adapted. However, when you actually look at athletes who have been low-carb
They've not been properly fat adapted. Yes, they've been adapted to eating garbage, slave food, peasant food diet. Why doesn't he just fucking say it for what it really truly is?
long time, and are therefore
Oh my God, look at these slaves, these peasant slaves. Oh, Christ.
adapted. The results are very different. Fat adapted athletes perform just as well, and in some cases even better than carb-based athletes. For
I
example,
know they do. That's absolutely true.
this study here found that fat-adapted athletes had identical glycogen replenishment compared to carb-based athletes, despite the fact they were eating.
Well, that's interesting. Well, there you go. So the question is this now. It's a choice. Do you want to be on complex carbs or do you want to eat animal fat? Get it? Because it's going to be the same, according to this dude. It's going to be the same. Now, I've been lifting and been eating a meat and a fat and no carbohydrates. Do I notice a difference? Yeah, I notice that my muscles don't fully blow up like it would if I ate complex carbohydrates. there's a difference right away. I'm much more just dense. I have much more dense muscle. Instead of muscle filled with glycogen, a lot of it filled with glycogen. It's more dense when I'm on just eating strict animal-based diet and fat. Yeah.
No carbohydrates. That's the important point. On carnivore or low-carb diets, your body is able to produce its own glycogen and maintain a stable blood sugar naturally. You don't need to be constantly munching down those sugar gels or whatever other carbohydrates people eat in order to perform your best. This right here is exactly why so many top athletes like Muhammad Salah, LeBron James, many UFC fighters, and even entire sports teams like the Penrith Panthers who switched to low-carb and carnivore diets. If Joe had have just stayed carnivore for longer, his body would have adapted. His energy would have come back up. His gym performance would have gone up, and as a whole his problems would have gone away.
When I first started on YouTube, I was eating a carnivore-ish diet. I realized I was under-eating.
I love this, a carnivore-ish diet. So you're not really doing it the way it's supposed to be. Okay.
And when I just eat tons of meat and fat, I can't eat enough. And so I found that if I have a little bit of carbohydrate, it actually stimulates me to keep eating and to not.
No, you're just addicted to that. You just want to eat those fucking foods. And she cooks the shit out of her meat. She doesn't eat it raw in its natural state. These people are unnaturally suffering doing that.
Undereat.
Lily's situation is actually very similar to Tristan's, where she simply just couldn't eat enough. As both Lily and Tristan experienced, when you add...
She couldn't eat enough because, here's the problem. She destroyed the nutrients by cooking it. Had she just ate it raw, she would have gotten sufficient amount of nutrients, and the fat would have been in its normal, natural state. When she ate it, she would have been fine. Because I find the more natural food and it's uncooked, the more I eat it raw, the more it's hard to consume more of it because I'm just getting the nutrients. That's all your body wants. So I tend to eat less because more raw, eat less. More cooked, gotta eat more. Yeah. To make up for the loss.
Carbs, these problems go away. It's very easy to eat more carbs for a number of reasons, one of which is because your blood sugar spikes, and when this blood sugar inevitably
and it'll age you, and it causes insulin resistance. That's the problem over time, so you should stop doing that.
Drops again, hunger kicks back in massively, and as a result you can eat a lot more. On carnivore, fat and protein...
You eat a lot more, it kicks in. Because you're gonna get fat, dude. Get it?
Keep your blood sugar relatively steady, which helps you stay full for much longer. As well as this, carbs are also more palatable. Even if you're completely full from a massive steak, you can very easily eat a bit more fruit, bread, or something sweet if that's in front of you.
So as of August 2021, I started incorporating a serving of fruit, which not only helped me from under-eating, but also improved my sleep. As I started noticing when I was doing more strict carnivore, that I was waking up like 2 hours before my alarm would go off. I also started having more eye twitching from not holding on to my electrolytes, and I was also noticing my...
Oh my God, this is the same thing that like Paul Saladino, these other people that are complaining about. Man, because you're having those problems because your food is cooked in seed oils and crap. You're cooking it, destroying it. That's the problem. And she said I don't know, I think she's still doing some fake stuff.
Performance in the gym was getting slowly not as optimal, and when I incorporated a little bit more carbohydrates, I was able to push it more in the gym and have more strength.
So why didn't you just incorporate more animal fats? You have more strength and more energy and Why did it have to be carbohydrates exactly? You never really gave a good explanation. Oh, because it took away these things that gave me the energy I needed. Whatever, boo-ha.
Was very lean and in great shape, but like Paul, because she was generally under-eating and likely not getting in enough protein in one sitting.
She was under-eating, yes, not getting enough nutrients, because they cooked the shit out of the food.
Insulin levels were probably too low to properly retain key electrolytes. This right here explains her symptoms like poor sleep and eye twitching. And when you're that lean and under-eating, your gym performance and endurance are also going to drop as well. This is why when she added fruit and other carbs back in, she essentially killed two birds with one stone. For one, the carbs sufficiently increased her appetite, allowing her to eat more and therefore she had better energy. And two, the carbs increased her insulin levels, which allowed her to maintain more of those electrolytes. If Lily had have stayed on carnivore, the fix to her under-eating would have been the same as Tristan's. More dairy and potentially a bit more variety. And to fix her electrolyte problem, simply more protein in singular meals, and she could have added more salt to her meals, because 90% of the time, people on carnivore who have electrolyte issues are typically people with sodium issues.
So essentially from August 2021 to August 2023, I had mainly just been eating meat, fish, dairy, and a piece of fruit. Keep in mind, this whole time my scalp has still been itchy, and because it's itchy, then when I scratch it, things will flake off. So now it's more like dandruff, and then when it's more dandruffy, then it stresses me out. And
she's also showering all the time, using all these toxic products on her skin and her body. Yeah, I don't know where the shit is coming from. Why would she get this? I've never gotten this. Don't know anybody that just eats. She's been eating meat your whole entire life. So what's really going on here? It's something else. Something else. Maybe she ate some organs she wasn't supposed to. They were toxic. Well, nobody knows, bro. They don't really show you.
then I have more like psoriasis or kind of like dermatitis. So that's kind of where
Well, it's not coming from the meat. Nutrients don't cause that. Toxins and stuff cause that. Your toxic diet.
scalp was at this point, and I got my blood work done in August 2023. My blood work showed that my ferritin levels were elevated, which ferritin is the storage form of iron, so slightly high in iron, and my copper was a little bit on the lower end, and my thyroid, well, my thyroid...
Yeah, but people could get that eat meat anyways. They could get this kind of problem because they're doing something in seed oil. She's cooking it. Look at her look. She's drooping.
Numbers were still in range. My thyroid still wasn't as optimal as it could be. And having dry skin can be a sign that someone has maybe some thyroid issues going on.
When it comes to lab work, it's...
Yeah. What would it be exactly? Let's find out. Seed oils. Oh.
Easy to see one marker on
Cat's out of the bag.
Paper and panic because it's, quote, too high or too low. But the real question is, according to what? Most people don't realize that lab ranges aren't based on an objective measure of optimal health.
Okay.
They're based on population averages. And the
Oh, they are they? Right.
population we're looking at is one which is largely eating the standard American diet, often with chronic inflammation and metabolic issues.
The standard American diet with metabolic issues and stuff and yada yada. Yeah, okay.
What researchers do to calculate these optimal ranges is simply take the middle of these numbers and call it normal. But normal for an unhealthy population doesn't mean that it's good for you. High ferritin or iron is a good example of this. And iron deficiency is one of the most common nutrient deficiencies in the world. Most people eating a standard diet consume very low amounts of iron, or they have poor iron absorption because it's from plant-based sources. As a result, the lab ranges of iron aren't exactly the best guideline. In meat, you get a form of iron called heme iron, which your body absorbs and stores much more effectively. Now, ferritin is a measurement of how much iron you have stored in your body. So instead of meaning iron overload, slightly high ferritin levels can simply mean your body is absorbing and using a healthy amount of iron. And regarding the thyroid, if it was actually low, that can be explained by not eating enough. A possible explanation of Lily's scalp issues could be the dairy that she was consuming. A lot of store-bought dairy is put through
It could be, yes. I've heard of this before.
process called pasteurization, which is where it's heated to high.
Pasteurization will cause psoriasis and eczema to pop out. You'll feel itchy and stuff all over. The moment you stop, it goes away.
Temperatures in order to stay shelf stable for longer. However, this process
and she was known for eating dairy because I saw her video last one with the shopping shit. So she eats dairy. I don't really. If I drink pasteurized milk, homogenized, and if I so much as get something, I'm quitting it right away. If I get some itchy something, whatever, I'm quitting that shit right away. And so I'll go to the pet store and get some fermented goat's milk. Is a lot better for you. And beef blood is amazing. Probably show that next time at Nations. I'll show it again.
Damage the proteins in dairy, as they are very sensitive to heat, which for some people can trigger allergy-like responses such as a rash. Now in this video we've looked at why I believe these people ran into issues on carnivore and what they could do to fix them. But there is still one
what are they going to do?
Common trend amongst all of these people. They're still on very meat-heavy and meat-based diets that some people would still consider carnivore. So while a lot of people like to go around trying to disprove the carnivore diet, saying, look at all these people over here, they had to quit. In reality, they didn't exactly quit. By the true definition of the word carnivore, they are still technically carnivore, if not very close to. At the end of the day, no matter what your diet is, meat and animal products are the foods that are most essential for human health. And in this video here, I break down exactly why it's so important for all humans to eat a meat-based carnivorous diet. Anyway, as always, great speaking with you, and I'll see you next time.
Men over 40.
That was an interesting video. It was a great video. I mean, it was okay, but he never really got to the root of the problem like I did. Tell me what you think about that. Comment down below, and I don't know what you think the problem was with these fucking people, man. It's interesting. I like to know what your thoughts on it. See you in the next one, friends.